All right, folks, good morning. Saturday edition of painting stuff. More Polish nights, because we just can't seem to get enough. No, we have a lot to do, so. See where we left off. What the hell is this cord doing? Ah, yes. Somewhat shouldn't be. All right. All right, the night we were working on last, this fella right here. What do we have left on him? Not a whole lot. I think we got hooves and the tail. And that's about it. Oh, the saddle. We need to do the saddle. We need to saddle the strap that the saddle sits on, the hooves, and the tail and the mane. Okay, saddle it is. Saddle up. I think the brightness on this thing is set too high. It's funny because I didn't tinker with that. Let's see if brightness, exposure locked off. There we go. Let's try that. All right, let's see if we can get in here with this brush, or we need to go to something smaller. I don't want to use something smaller initially because trying to save those brushes for faces and stuff like that. Good morning, Eric Jan Renting. Back on the Saturday edition. Actually, it'd be the only weekend edition this weekend. I will not be filming tomorrow morning. I will be out of town. So gonna be leaving midday today and won't be back until Sunday evening. And I don't think I'm gonna get back early enough Sunday to film, so we'll see. And I don't know what's happening on Monday. Or who's even gonna show up, but that's typical. Never know what's gonna happen until it's happening. If it's just Mitch and I on Monday, then we'll have something really cool. If it's more than just Mitch and I, maybe not so cool. It won't be anything really unusual if it's three of us. If it's two, it will be. So I got a series of stuff to do with Mitch alone, and it's DBA related, but no third person for that. So we'll get through them. Didn't game last night. I don't even know if he was available. I just I needed to get up early, and I wanted to do some painting, and I knew I wasn't going to get a chance to this weekend, so I didn't even entertain the fact. I haven't gotten hardly any painting done during the week, so I really want to get these guys done so we can start working on some Byzantines. I could just say F it and start working on the Byzantines now, but I got to keep myself on a short leash. It's bad enough that I pulled out some samurai the other day, and I've already been percolating what I need to do to convert these guys to 3.0. I already pulled some of those figures out the other day and realized, I'm just too much of a purist. If I'm going to go through the trouble of spending 4 hours on a figure, I want to paint the right figures. And sometimes I do that. Sometimes I'll be like, what exactly do I have in here? So I'll look through my figures and maybe put an army together and then put them away. But for a second there, before I filmed that last battle, the Asian Persuasion, I was considering after the Byzantines to do that same army that I ran. But seeing how those sons of bitches are now 1 and 7, before I've even built the army, I'm not going to build them. There's obviously some kind of bad chi or something with those guys. Actually, almost an ideal army list. But for some reason, I just can't get them off the ground. They don't really suit me. That's fine. It's figures I don't have to paint. It's not like there's a lack of stuff that for me to do. We have a visitor. Nordic Maelstrom. Okay, there we go. Good. I'm glad my alarm clock is here because I got to go wake up my daughter at 7. So there's your job. I even wrote myself a little note. I got to wake her up. I hate my handwriting when I write things in a hurry. I don't particularly have messy handwriting. Actually, I don't have messy handwriting, but not like my dad. My dad had like the best handwriting I've ever seen. Mine's not bad. I don't write cursive. I print everything. I hate cursive. These kids complaining now in school. Oh, they're not teaching us cursive. Can I go back to school? If I find out you guys aren't doing the quadratic formula or diagramming sentences, I'm signing back up. What was the other thing? Keeping a journal. Keeping a journal, diagramming sentences, writing in cursive, quadratic formula. Those things suck. 7 a.m., you got it, boss. Yeah, I'm not going to quit at 7. I should be good till about 9 or so. But there's no filming tomorrow. I'm going to go out of town. I'm going to go to, where are we going? Universal Studios. We got passes to go to them, so we'll be doing that for the weekend. I was going to go a couple weeks ago. It just didn't work out. Last time we went was in January, so. Time to ride the coasters. If you're into that. And I am. But the daughter's got to go do a practice SAT. So she's got to wake up and do that first, so. Always seems to be some kind of a Saturday event for her. Okay, not green gray. Where's the stoner gray? I know, added the R at the end. Stoner. There we go. Had to learn cursive in 4th grade. That was the only year it was enforced. Yeah, we all had to write in it. I hate it. I hate. So, of course, I have a hard time signing things. Actually, except for my unofficial signature, the one I use at work to sign off on things. I should have had some brains and foresight and use that as my legal signature. Because when I go and try to legally sign things, I'm like all elbows. I'm all elbows when it comes to that. You love roller coasters, but I suffered severe whiplash in 2014 and don't think I can ride them anymore. Oh man, that sucks. Yeah, my wife just told me some kid fell out of one here in Orlando. It wasn't in one of the parks. It was one of the, you got the big parks in Orlando. You've got Disney's 4 parks, which don't have great rides. But anyhow, you've got SeaWorld. You've got Universal, the 2 Universal parks, which are next to each other. They're basically one park attached at the hip. Siamese parks. That's actually what they should be called, the Siamese parks, because they're attached. Well, is that it? Yeah, and then you've got like your little permanently set up carnies type things in between them. There's a few of them. There's maybe 6 of them or whatever, and I think one of the kids fell off a ride or something like that. I don't know. I have to look that up. Or maybe not look it up to go on it. But I do anything at a park. I've never been to a park. There's anything I wouldn't do. And I read an article several years ago. So it may not be accurate. It might be updated now. But it said that the safest rides are in Florida. Just because of inspections and stuff. And, you don't want to have that kind of negative publicity. You got to keep people safe, You can't have, It's like having an airline. It's always on time, but sometimes we crash. Oops, sorry about that. That's not going to work. So I did read that one time. Again, it's in the press, so I don't know if it's true or not. I'm a skeptic when it comes to the press now. I've been to Orlando once back in 96. Stayed a week at Dixie Landing Disney Resort. I don't think that one exists anymore. It's a lot of fun. We chose to go to SeaWorld over Universal Studios. 96. In 96, there was only Universal Studios. There wasn't Islands of Adventure. So you chose wisely. There was like freaking, there's no rides at Universal Studios at that time. Busch Gardens was the place I always liked to go as a kid. But it's in the wrong town. It's in Tampa. There's nothing over there. Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff over there. There's no reason to go over there. I haven't been there since probably in 10 years. And it sucks because that's where the super rides are. But there's Universal Studios has something that no other place has that I know of. Maybe other places have it. It's really smart, actually. So they have their own hotels, and they have, I'm going to say 8 of them. I could be off by 1 or 2. 3 of their hotels are very expensive. Very expensive, like they're double the price of a normal hotel, right? Which I always thought was really strange. You know, if you're going to go to a park, why stay at a hotel for a park? Because even though the hotel might have really cool things, if you're enjoying them, then you're not enjoying the park, right? I mean, so if you're going to go to a Universal hotel, just don't even go to the park. Go to the park and not go to the hotel. But they did something really interesting. And if you stay at one of them, they give you a special pass that when you go into the park, you have your own VIP line, so to speak. And I give you an example. There's a ride at Universal Studios. I said Universal Studios doesn't have any rides. Well, they do now. But they didn't in 96. But there's a ride that opened, I'm going to say 2005 at Universal Studios. And at the time, it was the first roller coaster they had over there. It's called The Mummy, based on the movie. Everything there is based on movies. On Universal movies or whoever else they're in cahoots with. So, it's a mummy ride. It's a roller coaster. It's not super intense. It's indoors, doesn't go upside down, but it's a really cool ride. Well, opening weekend we went, and with friends of ours, and the lines were like 3 hours to get on the ride, which honestly is pretty short because there's rides now that have like 7-hour long lines. I'm not waiting in them. I don't wait over an hour. F that. I'll go do something else. I actually don't mind waiting. I just don't want to stand in line, like sardines while you're doing nothing else for an hour. If it's like, hey, come back in an hour, no problem. I'll come back in 3. It's not a big deal. Anyhow, so instead of waiting multiple hours for this ride, we went in with this pass, and we went in and rode it and came back out in 15 minutes. So, I mean, it's worth it. So, yes, it's very expensive, and you can do that multiple times, unlike Disney and their bullshit where you can only get one pass for one day. I think it's even worse now. Now you got to buy the fast passes or whatever. This is like a perpetual fast pass. So if you want to say, I want to ride the Mummy 20 times, you just go right in there, and then you go back and do something else, So it makes the experience a win, is how I like to call it. It makes the experience a win. I've never seen anybody else do something like that. And, these people come from all over the world to go to like Disney or something like that. And there's just never a good day to go to Disney. I mean, you can go, okay, when school's in, and it's a Tuesday, shouldn't be a lot of people. And there are. It's just people come all over the world to go to Disney World. So, but anyhow, I've never seen another park do something like that. All right. Da-da-da-da-da-da. You love marine animals. Me too. So I enjoyed myself going to SeaWorld. I love a good aquarium. So last time I went to SeaWorld, we had passes for that. I went with a daughter. She was, I'm going to say 11 or 12. Maybe she was 13, something like that. It was just her and I. The wife had to do something. We went down there, spent the night. And we went on a Saturday. It was a Saturday, Sunday, so it was in the middle of the week. And it was a rainy day. It was like drizzling. It was a day where you wouldn't even get that wet if you were out in it, but it was just like a steady, like a drizzle. And a lot of those rides, when it rains, they shut them down. And the reason they shut them down is because the brakes and stuff don't work and as they're supposed to. And not that they care if people get wet. But we knew we were going to get kind of wet anyway, so we were kind of prepared. I think we were both wearing like swim gear. I mean, she wasn't wearing a bikini or anything, but we were wearing stuff that, dries fast or whatever. And we ended up going, they have a roller coaster there called Mako. That's, I guess, their newest one. And it's a really cool roller coaster. And we ran it like 5 times in a row. We didn't even get off the ride. So, yeah. And then you got plenty of time to look at the manatees and all the other sea stuff that they have there. I like sea creatures. Yeah, we're big fans of that stuff too. Big fans of that. Okay, so we need horsehair. Do we have chocolate brown? Nope. But there's just so many people in Florida now that it's difficult to find a day to, it's those places are the busiest when it's the middle of summer. When it's the middle of summer, it's even busier, and it's hotter than fill in the blank. So why would you go there? Why would you go? I know that's when the kids are off, but I don't go there. I'm not going to volunteer to just sit in line and just drip. There's hot, and then it's god awful. No. Go to the beach. At least in the beach, there's a breeze, or you can get in the water and stay cool, but man, there's no respite from that. All right, we need the tail and the mane, and we're done with this booger. Can move on to the next one. And there's 4 next ones. And then we're done with the poles for now. For a while. I'm not going to go back and build this army anytime soon. I mean, it's damn near all mounted. And 2 war wagons. Or 2 8... Are they crossbows? I think they're 8 crossbows. Not exactly very exciting. Can't even have any skirmishers. You're up in Pennsylvania, aren't you? You go to Historicon? Are you going to go this year? We're planning on going unless they run some funny business or something. Like they did last year. Actually, last year they did 2 things. The biggest thing is moving it into November. You move something into November, that's guaranteed I'm not going to go. That's cruising month. That's anniversary month. No, we should be there. Unless make the 14.5-hour trek. It's quicker back than up. We can't go up in one day. Can't make it up in one day. Because the problem is to get around DC. You end up hitting DC at the same time they're getting off work. And that's just, traffic is just insane. So back isn't a problem because it's on a Sunday and we leave at 5 a.m. So nobody around DC at 6:30 in the morning. Something like that. I love those people like, oh, I can't go to Historicon. They moved it to Virginia. I got to drive an extra hour. Now it's a 3-hour drive for me. I'm like, come on, grow up, put on a pair of pants. We're driving all freaking. You don't need to go that bad, I guess. What I don't want to do is do that kind of a trek and it's only for like a day or only for 2. This one at least is like for freaking 5 days. It's long enough that when it's over, you're like, man, I'm ready to go home. I've had enough of this good thing. Sharks are my favorite animal on the planet. Put you in a tank, Mr. Bond, and see how much you like them. I don't know if I'm going this year. I would only go for the vendor market and the flea market. Well, the vendor has gotten crappier and crappier every year. And that's not to say that it stinks, but there's a lot of things I'm not interested in. Anything 28 millimeter, I'm not even going to look at. So that's out. So for my 15 millimeter ancients and medievals and stuff like that, it's just not really that much. Flea market, yeah, I've gotten some good deals on the flea market, but you just don't know when it's going to be, when that's going to be. Or, I mean, it's all the time. You just don't know when the thing you're looking for is going to show up at the flea market. Because some guys are there the whole time, and some guys are there only for one session, and then their wares are gone. So you just have to time it correctly. The nice thing about Historicon is you can make your game start and end at any time. And what I mean by that is they're not stuck to a certain time slot like they are in our local convention here in Orlando. So what I can do is if there's a break between sessions, you make it at a time when the vendor hall's open. So like for instance, if the vendor hall is only open till 6, it's stupid to have your break from 6 to 8 because you can't shop. So that's a useless break. Not that you need to shop, but it's nice to, what the thing I like the most is when I'm not working is I don't want to be rushed. I don't want to be rushed, so. Okay. This Polish guy's done. Next, I gotta pick another guy. We just did a guy with a hound skull thing, so following my own advice, I'm doing another hound skull guy. That way I'll make sure to not make him blue. Odds are he should be red. See if we can find some heraldry. Hearing that, get the Old Glory membership from my Age of Musketry projects. The shop sellers 9. Now, if Bacchus 6mm had stuff there, they don't. They never have before. I've never seen any 6mm stuff. And man, I tell you what, I walk around that vendor hall 10 times. Because I'm like, well, I don't find anything. So a little while later, I'm like, let me see if I missed something. Nope, didn't miss it again. And I'm like, oh, I got a little bit of break. Let me go through it again. Nope, never. I've never seen 6mm stuff. And GHQ sets up shop, and they have everything there. But I don't know if they run discounts. I don't know. They have everything there. It sure seems like they have everything there. Red. Okay, let's go to my Pinterest page. Sorry, I can't take you there. How's the internet running today? Well, there is red. I don't know what's going on. The damn drones. First it was the Taliban, now it's the damn drones. Pinterest. Let's see. Polish Knights. Where was this? What division was this guy with the funny, with this funny cross? Oh, he wasn't one at all. He's just kind of loose over here. All right, which one of these haven't we done? I don't want to do a flower. That's stupid. That's like having a potted plant as your heraldry. Stupid. What about one of these fish guys? This guy with a fish. What is the guy with a double fish thing? There's a guy with a lobster. A lobster. Oh, look out, he's got a lobster. Some guy with a last name Rashek. The sword with the two crescents. Green? That's weird. Very unusual color for poles is green. All right, where's the guy I was thinking of with the two fish? One fish, two fish, three fish, pole. Oh, man. One fish, two fish, red fish, pole. He's not in one of these things. And I know for a fact there's a guy who has a double fish thing. Is he in my book? Well, we just won't do him next. I don't want to go. All right. You want red. Ooh, this guy. This guy's famous. Well, that's a pain in the ass to do that. It's got a shield and it's split in half. It's got an antler on one side in white on a red background, and it's got a horn on the opposite side, red on a white background. So it's mirror image. I like stuff like that. Oh, there's the goose dude. Yeah, I'm taking a long time, but I don't have to look at this once I make my decision. Got to make a final decision. There's a guy who's got the horse's ass. The horse's face is yeah, that guy. This is the one we should do right here. This one. It's yellow with red because my other red doesn't have yellow in it. It's yellow and red. Whoever the hell this guy is. Now, how do I make this bigger? View image. There we go. There we go, guys. Dobislav Olevinsky. It's a sword. It's a sword with two crescents. Dobislav Olevinsky. All right, now, can I take this and make it smaller? I sure as hell can. I'm quoting Dr. Seuss. Yeah, he's racist, I hear. And that was last year's controversy. 30% of your total order and shipping from Bacchus is killer. It is. I really hate the idea of paying that kind of shipping. You could say a Knights Who Say Ni army and paint a shrubbery and a herring for heraldry. All right. You want to know something funny? I got to turn the camera around. Hopefully this comes out okay. Because sometimes when you look at the screen with this phone, it does the screen within the screen within the screen within the screen. I don't understand why that happens. Look at my screen. This guy over here is the one I'm going to do. Look what's next to him. A fucking shrubbery. It's damn broccoli. Dobislav Olivinsky. Oh, man. Can I do that again? Oh, there we go. Forget I have a touch screen on this thing. There we go. There's the shrubbery. One that's not too expensive. Black Knight was my favorite. Yeah, 30% of an order. That's brutal. That's brutal. I don't know what happened. I don't understand what happened with the... I think the shipping rates, people were just getting screwed. And when the UK left the EU, it was kind of their opportunity to kind of refigure stuff out. So, I move for no man. That's right. Good morning, Ian. At least you spell your name the right way, Ian. No, I've seen this Ian. It's I-A-I-N, and maybe that's the traditional spelling, but that's like, man, can you buy a consonant for me, please? I guess that's the Gallic way of spelling Ian, but I move for no man. That's right. My daughter loved that. She saw it for the first time when she was 10. I have it on DVD with subtitles and everything. It's just very, it's so damn blurry, you know? That and the Ministry of Funny Walks. We like those too. All right, let's do his shield first. Right out of the gate. Let's do his shield first. And which red are we going to use? Let's use the Cuban red. I'm going to call it Cuban red because this guy that I did, he ended up getting painted. It looks just like the red that's in the Cuban flag. Shit happens. I'll move for a pretty lady or anyone with a gun. And there I draw the line. Okay, the one with the I is a Scottish version. Okay. I would have thought it was Irish. Okay. Cool. Hey, it's an educational channel. It's funny because when I contact people on the phone for work and stuff, and I'm writing down their name, to contact them again later, and they tell me their name is Sean, I immediately go to spelling it the Cian way. I don't like it with the H and the W. Just looks weird. So my go-to is the spelling it the S-E-A-N. It looks better. It looks better. The redneck version is the W-N. Redneck Sean. All right. We're going to paint his entire shield in red, but of course we're going to darken it. It'd be uncivilized otherwise. The 6mm, and I did a fair amount of 6mm gaming. If we're going to call GHQ 6mm, I've done a fair amount of 6mm gaming in my life. My biggest problem with it is that the infantry just doesn't play an interesting role. I mean, it's supposed to be a combined arms type of a game, but yet it's boring as shit to run the infantry. Every game I played. So I saw a news article, not that I go find it, I turned on the internet this morning, and I've actually seen this one before, or something similar, and it would say, "Is this the end of the tank?" With all the tanks getting supposedly destroyed out there in the Ukraine. Are they done with the tanks? Well, you don't bring tanks into an environment where the other guy doesn't have tanks. Because you can be seen from a mile away and you can't find out where the little infantry guys are running. Are the people running these armies never played war games before? Come on, man. Oh, this horse has got his head low in shame. All right, 6:24. Got another 20 or so minutes, and I gotta go. Alarm! Okay. I think we're done with level 1 darkness on this guy. Now, we're going to put the emblem on the back quarters and the shield. And it's a yellow emblem again, so we're going to have to go over here to Yellow Land. Jared Heine, welcome. That's weird. A package from Bacchus just dropped through my door. French and Austrians for the 1809 campaign. I like those Austrians with those, I think they call them the German helmet. They look cool. If it's true, the Russian army lost like 6 or 7 generals, so probably no one is running that army right now. Yeah, it still doesn't make sense. The only thing that makes sense is maybe we just overestimated the living shit out of them or their capability. I hope we do the same thing with the Chinese. I hope the Chinese jump. Well, I don't. Again, I'm not a warmonger. If the Chinese jump on Taiwan, I hope they get mowed down at the beaches. Every damn last one of them. Being 6 million gents, how do heroics and Ross and Napoleonics compare to Bacchus? That's a good question. That's a good question, Jared. I kind of think of them as the same company, although they're not. Bacchus wasn't around when I was doing it. I liked Ross and heroics like infantry for World War II. They were, bulky looking. I like them. Didn't apply. I should tell me. Considering 6 million from some Blucher. Fight the Battle of Wagram. which is the one that we had the order of battle for. Marengo. Which I always think of, sounds like a name of a battle that should be in Spain. Marengo sounds like something would be in the Peninsula campaign instead of where it is. I like playing Austrians. I don't know why. Oh, they're dressed in white. That's why. Ros and Heroes is significantly smaller than Bacchus. Interesting. I wish they had a larger variety of poses and that stuff. Or I'd do something like Renaissance in 6. And don't tell me, oh well, you can just paint him as something else, because this guy knows. I'm not painting with my contacts out just so I can't see him. No, I know. I can see him. Putting the goop around the stands would suck in that scale. All right, so we're going to do... Wow, we're going to start with a shield first. This is going to be... I will take the physical challenge. All right, here is the brown base, which is English uniform. All right, we're going to drop a line. I must have said that a long time ago in my drafting days. In the center, okay? And then we're going to do the crossbar for the sword. Which is going to be about here. Then we're going to do this 2. Crescents. Actually, this thing's in my way. I can't see if it's in focus or not. Focus, damn it. Let's get the basic shape on there. Should be in Spain instead of northern Italy, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's in northern Italy. They're fighting over that part of the world, near Milan or something like that. H&R Napoleonics. It's funny because we always call them Ross and Heroics, and it's Heroics and Ross. Been in production for several years. Guy who runs the company now only seems interested in 20th century stuff. That annoys me about Bacchus figures. ACW line, they have the soldiers holding their muskets in the wrong arm for marching. Oh man. That'd be annoying. I wonder if I got any left-handed figures. I never thought about that. I just forget. Sorry, you guys that are left-handed. I don't think about you very often. There's probably guys that are... I didn't know anybody when I was growing up that was left-handed. Now there's all kinds of people, including 2 people above my pay grade at work. Don't let anybody run a company now. All right, let's fill this in a little bit more. Yeah, I remember we were in school and we're in those desks that have the built-in like the desk. You know, you just sit in from one side, and if you got that left-handed desk, there was always a couple of them in the room, and it was always like weird. Like, what do I do here? Let's fill this in some. Heroics and Ross. I always called it Ross and Heroics. At the time, when we were doing it at the time, GHQ, the only infantry they had, their infantry were like in these little bundles. It almost looked like they were riding in the back of a truck or something like that. Like you were going to take your infantry to the meat market and sell them or something. You know? They weren't individual poses where you can put them in some kind of a skirmish order or something like that. All right, now we'll do the red because it's a crescent, but it's a very banana crescent-ish. Let's go back to red. And CNC, I think, made infantry as well. And CNC stuff's just very, didn't hold up well. So those Heroics and Ross guys were nice and bulky. You know, they were out of scale, but they were out of scale and, you know, they were like really, really fat. But you're looking at them from very far away, so I always thought that they looked good. For what they were, for little ants. 24-minute count. That's right. That's right. Mr. Jeffrey, welcome. I'm old enough to remember Ross and Heroics being two separate companies. They changed hands a couple years ago and are still building back. Any of you guys ever see that guy that... Yes, I just assumed it was a guy. No, that person, I just assumed that they were a person. They had sculpted their own figures is kind of a wrong way to say it. They had sculpted their own formations. They claimed it was in 2mm. So they had their little stand of, say, Romans. And I can't see what I'm doing because the stupid thing's in the way. Let's move this stupid thing out of the way here. No, don't click on that. Don't. Damn it, I can't do shit without my glasses. There we go. Move this out of the way. And they had like the little formations in here. So they would have like several ranks of the Romans, or I think the Gauls. It was like Romans and Gauls were like in these amoeba type formations, and he would use that to play. I think it was for DBA. Came out about a year ago, or whatever. I thought it was really ingenious. He'd made this stuff out of like clay or something like that. I thought that was a really cool idea. And I don't think you could even make out a single person. It was like these clumps of... What's that stuff that they use? The air dry clay. Sculpey. I think it was made out of Sculpey or something like that. That was really ingenious. Till you build it and somebody says, well, it's not the formations of Romans really. And screw these guys. Do your research. So somebody can't, you don't invest all that time in doing something and you end up doing it wrong. Sculpey. Never messed with that stuff. Seems like it'd be too brittle to be worth my time. Do something really nice and then it just crumbles. Oh, thanks. American War of Independence, just about finished. 64 American militia figures. Republican, Roman, Carthaginian, and Gallic. Paris, man. I need to get off my ass and finally do his army. That's my boy Paris. Always keep having things that get in the way. No, no, we're not going to use yellow to lighten it. We're going to use white because we got yellow stuff on here. Oh, Jesus, not that much white. My boy Paris. All right, we're going to leave this. This is the point where we're going to go to switch back to the yellow. I'll have you guys take a look at this, if you'd like. Crap, we got to tinker with these settings. These settings are all wrong. They're all wrong. First of all, way too bright. That's not what it looks like. Looks more like that, maybe. Okay, now zoom in. Now we'll do the yellow. And of course the sword is not, the blade is not yellow looking. I just decided to do that just for balance purposes there. We'll paint over that. We'll deal with 6 or separate look mass ranks. You should, because you can use a lot of his troops for Alexander and Philip's armies. You know what I'm going to do. You know I'm not going to do that. You know there's no way I'm going to use Pyrrhic troops in an Alexander army. I'll speak specifically Alexander army. Just the same way I wouldn't use French knights for the Poles. I'm a painter, so I want to do different stuff. My take on Pyrrhus's army. Little Big Man Studios has those beautiful shields. I don't know if I'm man enough to use Little Big Man Studios stuff again. That just scares the shit out of me. But they're beautiful. I mean, they actually look too nice. Their stuff looks too nice. It's just, I wish they were water slide. That's it. I'm fine with them being decals. They look like they'd be crinkled, and when you seal them up, they turn out nice and flat. The end result is nice. It's just stressful as hell. And I don't want stress in my painting projects. Saw some beautiful 15 millimeter 11th century Spanish STLs the other day that have me considering a Reconquista army, my first army. STLs. I take it you've got a printer. I do not need one of those. I have plenty of things to paint. And as long as there's people out there that will sell me, that sell stuff like that, I don't mind. I don't mind buying them. I'm a painter. I don't have the personality type to get all that stuff on there. They have one at work. They have one of those printers at work. And I was talking to the guy who runs it. I'm like, how's this thing going? Oh, it's jamming all the time. And I said, nope, that's why I don't have one at home. I said that, and they're all made in China. So I'm not giving them any of my money knowingly. I'm not knowingly giving them money of my money. No, I don't want the headaches. I don't want the headaches. And I don't consider myself, even though I prove it I disprove this all the time. I don't consider myself a technologically challenged person. But sometimes they don't make programs because I've figured out how to do this little bit that I do. I've been able to figure this out kind of on the fly. But some things aren't programmed correctly, you know? And some things that should be simple aren't. And I wonder if it's just for nefarious purposes so that you have to call a professional. You know, how they write all the laws. You know, you can't make heads or tails out of anything, so you got to get your lawyer involved. Well, I don't want to, damn it. I want to figure it out on my own. Well, you can't. You don't have the schools. The school. You don't have the school set for it. Yes, I don't have the school set. I know. I got 18 minutes. I'm glad I put that out there because it's, you know, percolating. Not like, Daddy, you didn't wake me up. Like, well, you do have an alarm, don't you? I don't have the skill set for that. Just like some people can't paint, I can't. There's some computer things that I just can't figure out. So I just kind of go the other way. Well, I don't want to have to go the other way after I've spent, I don't know how much they are, $3,000, a couple grand painting them. And I don't need more things to paint. I got plenty to paint. You know, if somebody comes up with something cool, like, you know, a war wagon or something that nobody makes, yeah, I wouldn't mind doing something like that. But it's not like I need to print out all these figures for some special game I'm doing. I got plenty. And like this that I'm doing, none of this is stressful. And if I screw it up, I can fix it. But that computer stuff, forget that. I don't want any frustration here in my home. And none in my hobby. Okay, now we do the blade. I think they have almost a white color. Of course, we're going to start with gray. And just so you guys know, there's no painting video tomorrow morning. Hot damn. Let's see. Where'd my little square go? Here we go. They're very open crescents, at least on the shield. That's how they're shown. Attempt to get a second 15mm project going Alexander's Army. Resin printer. Well, you know those little skeletons I did? These little guys right here? I'm impressed with this material. Whatever material this is, it's basically bubble free. And they actually painted up really nice. 10-minute notification to wake the daughter at time. 10, maybe 15. But Ian stopped looking at soldiers' backsides. Found it much easier than people said it would be, as long as I purchased good quality, pre-supported sculpts. Oi. Yeah, I don't need more things to paint. I don't. That's just going to create more work for me. I've got 100 pounds of white metal, you know. And you guys watched that show the other day. I started pulling out figures and talking about it. That's why I changed the name of my channel. It's a combination of my old WordPress site, which I used to call Figure-atively Speaking. So we added that on there. I was afraid that I could only change it a couple times. I guess I could change my channel every day if I wanted to. I don't want to do that. I don't want to lead people astray or they can't find my stuff. But yeah, 10 minutes. What do we got time for 10 minutes? Well, we got time to paint this design on the back. Let's do that. Let's paint the design on the, at least put the parameters that we're going to work in on the back of the figure here. He's the banana knight. That's what it looks like. They're very open crescents. Nope. As someone famous once said, or maybe they're not famous yet, I can't be into everything. So I can't be into doing 3D printing and painting. So we're going to stick to painting. There's people that are much better at 3D printing than I'm ever going to be. You know, part of it is interesting because I did take drafting. You know, not that that's incredibly helpful, but it can't be hurtful. But the hardest thing about doing drafting, and I took it the first time it was offered in the college, and I had a problem with the program at the end of the semester, was getting it configured so it would print right. It was like the hardest freaking thing to do. So I can see the same damn thing happening with a 3D printer. I was hoping you'd be on so you could remind me about the daughter time. I just get carried away in my own endeavors here. So anyways, I was saying that I pulled out some figures yesterday, during the week. I showed you guys some of the stuff I had gotten from Marty a few years ago. Well, maybe a year ago, not a few years ago, maybe a year ago. Bunch of Huns and more Goths and the like. And the Huns, for instance, There's not the figure pose variety I would like with a irregular army like that. So when I get to do them, I'm probably going to order some figures from, one pack of each. I don't need a ton of them. There's like 12 of them that come in a pack. That's plenty from Forged in Battle, and mix them in. And that way they have an irregular look. And, some throwing another $30 or something like that at the problem. So, upgraded a large 15mm hoplite army. Last year with LBM shield decals. They look fantastic from the front. But when I'm playing them, I only see the backs of the figures. That was me, and I'm the most famous individual known to mankind. Provide entertainment, so the least I can do is be a proxy alarm clock. All right. I got 10 minutes, so we'll see. Proxy alarm clock. Dress up as that for Halloween. Yeah. Wear one of those big clocks around your neck like Flavor Flav. TikTok, motherfucker. Lots of people run around without watches. I gotta, I gotta have a watch always. And now I've gotten used to having something over here too. I gotta keep things in balance. Speaking of imbalance, that Chinese army, man, I don't know that they rolled that bad. My opponents were on fire. Oh well. That's the challenge. That's why I keep playing this stupid game. If I go and build that army, they're automatically 1-7 because I've run them before and they had a bad run of stuff too. I don't know what it is about those guys. They're not really Chinese. They're a Chinese dynasty that came from Mongolia before the Mongols. Yeah, that's the thing. I shouldn't be painting Mongoloid armies. Maybe I need a drink while I'm playing them. I might be a victim of my own success. I've killed people so much with bow fire and tying knights on ties with blades that I am so hesitant. And I tend to play, and I think I tend to play. I don't know, I'm just playing. I tend to play in a very conservative, I'm not going to take any risks type manner. And hopefully, I'll do crazy stuff when I have to, but I prefer to not take risks if I don't have to. Let's see, 7 minutes. All right. Now we've talked about it enough. It's going to be really hard to forget about it unless I have like a massive heart attack right now. I've kind of freaked myself out about it a little bit. I don't want somebody to get a cheap win. Like I've gotten many cheap wins before, So that's what happens. The same problem that army happened to. I mean, after the fact, I realized that's kind of what's happening to my Hungarians all the time. I moved the heavy foot, and they've got 3 elements of heavy foot. It's not like they can't stand up. And, it's not like I don't want the mounted to engage, but I don't want the mounted to engage without the heavy foot with them. And they just get pin-cushioned. My heavy foot gets pin-cushioned. Well, it's my own fault. I'm rolling 1s and 2s, so... only if I can somehow have an annoying alarm clock sound going. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm painting a Forged in Battle Zenobia for my Palmyran DBA army at the moment. Very nice miniature. I'm dying to get my hands on them. Scott was getting a bit miffed at one point about shooting terrain and LOS. Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. It's not like I've played him 80 times, so he's played 400 games. Maybe not 400 games, but 300 games. The problem is he plays all kinds of other stuff. So he gets confused. He's not a dumb guy. And I was like, why are you bringing this up now, man? I don't understand why you're confused. but he's plays like something different every night of the week. Scott played a brilliant game with the Koreans behind the river. Yeah, but he didn't win, right? Because that's the one that Marty won. All right, I'm gonna go wake up the daughter now. It's 5 minutes early. Tough. You should use your own damn alarm clock. I'll be right back in a few, and because I've got a good 2 hours in me, for sure. 2 more hours in me, and we'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. Let's see what I miss. What I miss. What I miss. Play a brilliant game behind the road. You guys like that? You guys like that game? You like that 2 hour long game? I tell you what. For me not playing, I thought it was a pretty interesting game. How'd everybody do about talking about stuff? I know I'm the master of that. And I probably am doing myself in, but I don't care. I'm enjoying the game a lot more when I get to talk about what my options are. It actually helps me. It probably helps my opponent too. I don't give a shit. I've almost lost 1,000 games. I'm on the cusp of. No, I got about 90 more to go before I've lost 1,000 games. So as long as I'm up over 50%, I should be good. Hey, I just want to win half the time. That's the whole point, is to be challenged. Yeah, did you guys find that game, that 2 hour game, boring? I didn't. I'm surprised that I didn't, but I'm surprised Marty was able to get his force across the field and win. He did win that one, didn't he? I think he said he went 3-0, so you gotta win all your battles to go 3-0. You love the 2 hour game. It was actually pretty interesting. Been through some long DBA games, Greek hoplites versus each other over a river. Man, that took forever to fight. Yeah, well, I'm glad. I'm glad people. I know right off the bat when we had longer games, you need to make them shorter. Well, you know what you need to do? You need to make them so I don't have to edit them. Because if I have to edit them down, I'm not going to do videos anymore. Because it takes enough of my resources to put out what we do to sit there and have to tinker with them. Yeah, I could make them better, and it could cause me to get burned out. The closest I've come is because of that. It just adds a lot of processing that the computer needs to, or computer, phone, whatever, needs to do internally. And unlike painting, this might take forever to do, but I don't wake up one morning and all of a sudden everything I've done is gone. Well, it looks like a spammer. Oh, it isn't. Perfect. Bonjour. I was hoping more artillery shots from the fort. Yeah, and then somebody commented we did the fort rules wrong, that there should have been +2 on defense. Well, the fort did eventually fall, so that's the only problem is don't use stuff you're not familiar with. So he throws like a river and this stuff, and we should do more stuff like that. But I don't try to use stuff that I'm not familiar with. You're late. Nah, you're right on time. Did you bring treats with you, Pierre? If not, party foul. I'm not being late and party foul. No treats. That's right. And it's French treats, so they're going to be yummy. Croissant. And a croissant for everyone. All you can eat croissant. Yummy French stuff. Except those damn snails. I'm not eating snails. I'm telling you. Well, they taste like butter. You know what else tastes like butter? Frickin' butter. So just have butter. Yeah, every time we go on the cruise has a French restaurant when we go on a cruise. We always try to eat at the French restaurant once. I don't have none of them damn snails. Hell no. Just on principle. Just on principle. Be pretty cool to do a French medieval army. And I've got all the troops to do it. I just think they're too powerful. Oh, one thing I was thinking while I wasn't here, I think I might fall into my own trap of if I think an army is too good, it's almost like I don't have to try as hard. I tend to do better with armies that are shittier. So I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. I want to have a good time. I want crazy stuff to happen. I want crazy stuff to be on film. Doesn't matter if I win or lose. You know, it's irrelevant now. At this point, it's like I'm calloused at this point to my losses. See, what did I do? Did I highlight after all the red was done? Yeah, I think that works actually better. Right. All right, I want to use a brush. I don't want to use a super brush. This one should probably work fine. Let's do this. The red we were using. We're going to need more red than that. We're going to need more red than that. Yeah, some people are too worried about winning and losing. You know, or like win every game and then lose one, and they'll be like, ah, like, dude, man, you won 6 and you lost 1. Who cares? You know. One rule of thumb: if you bring unusual things to the table like war wagons, forts, then read up on those things before the game. That's right. And I don't know that those are going to be used by somebody until it's like, poof, we're filming. I'm like, what the hell, you know? Escargots, yum. Oh, no. You can have mine. Escargots. I ain't eating none of them escargots. Yeah, see, I usually don't even know who's even going to come into play until we're there, much less that we're going to use weird shit. And it's a long game. I mean, if you've got, for instance, if you're going to play everybody once, if you have 2 people, it takes 1 game, obviously. If you have 3, it's 2 games, right? 3? I don't know. It's early. It gets exponentially when you add the 4th person. It takes 6 games then to get every combination. I think that's right. I don't know. It's too early for that. I haven't had enough caffeine. I'm a painter, damn it, not a abacus maker. Anywho, but I have gotten to the point where I do not want to play if it's not being filmed. Because can you imagine if I had not filmed some of the Jewish battles? Can you imagine if I would not have filmed that first Jewish battle? Nobody would have believed that happened. You guys got to see stuff like that. I mean, when it's just extreme, like, there's no way. Yep, there's a way it happened. And here it is right here before your very eyes. And it's not edited. It's not like, let's go back and change our reactions and stuff like that. I know I've mentioned this channel before. There's a guy that does my favorite thing on YouTube to watch. This guy that does this diecast racing. He's got millions of followers, and he should have millions of followers because it is that good. And he started this channel. Basically, it's just, Hot Wheels cars, and he lets them go down a track, and he announces it like it's a real race. I've mentioned it many times on here before. But his channel is extremely heavy edited. So while the stuff is happening, they're not making those comments because it's basically foolproof what he's doing. They don't make mistakes and stuff like that. And their commentary, it's done after the fact. That's way too much work. That's way too much work and effort. And they're not even painting the Matchbox cars, so they can devote a lot of time to that sort of thing. But yeah, we don't edit anything. So whatever the only thing we'll do is, I'll have to take a bathroom break or something like that, and I've got to pause it. But other than that, what you see is what you get. It is a reality show, unlike other reality shows that are not that way. So we don't edit anything. There's just too many cool things that happen in one of our battles, not to share that with the world. I'm more worried about having a good time playing the games and painting the miniatures. Yep. I unfortunately have to check out now. Fulfilled my duties as alarm clock. Catch you later. Happy painting. Okay. Have a good day, man. Have a good day. This is the painting that we'll do over the weekend because there's no painting tomorrow. I will be out of town. So, and I will not be somewhere where I can bring this arrangement. We should have a video on Monday. Who knows what the hell it is. Hopefully it'll be something good. Well, we'll film the video on Monday. You guys won't get it till Tuesday. And then Dirk won't get it until Wednesday because he's almost a day in advance. So. Almost, nearly. We need more quantity of paint here than what's here. I usually don't use very much paint, but when you're painting something big like this, it does get consumed. Does get consumed. But anyhow, we'll be doing something on Monday. If it's just the two of us, you'll get something a lot cooler. You'll get something unique. Let's put it that way. You'll get something different. So, Still DBA related, just not a standard battle. So, regardless, it'll all cost the same. I have a half day on Wednesday to your game. I have a half day on Wednesday, so your games are regular Wednesday afternoon viewing. Huh. Half day Wednesday, huh? You still working from home? Hopefully you are. That's a savings, man. Save fuel, transportation time. You can wear whatever the hell you want. If you want to wear something, I guess, you know. So jealous. I want to work from home like one day ever. What's that like? But then I have a total disconnect from work. I don't think about the place while I'm not there. Unless it's an extreme example, and I mean an extreme example, like once every 3 years, I don't get a phone call after hours. But the very first thing I want to do when I walk in the door, example yesterday, I want to get out of these clothes and take a shower. But I think a lot of people have gone back to the whole how things were being done before with not working from home and stuff. It seems like, man, let people work from home and I don't know. Maybe people came up with a lot of excuses. I can't work today. Why? My internet's down at home. Okay, well, we'll see you tomorrow. Just excuses for shit. I'm telling you what. If I could work from home, I'd make sure that I would do 50% more work to make sure I could always work from home. But I'm sure some people screwed around. I'd make sure, I'm like, man, we don't want this guy to come in. He does a lot better work still sitting at home. Yep, still working from home. The downside of work is home can get a little blurred. Yep, I can see that. Enjoy working in your underwear, though. Enjoy working at whatever temperature you want your work environment to be. Yeah, I'd make damn sure I'd be like freaking awesome working from home. Like, we don't want this guy. We don't want Tony to ever come in again. He gets so much more stuff done at home. Well, I also have my own room. I mean, so if I worked here, it'd be like I could be in my own cave, so to speak. Some people may not have that. They're working in the middle of the living room with a bunch of screaming kids hanging off the ceiling fan. I'd make damn sure nobody'd ever want me back in the office. I'm sure there's people that screw around with that stuff like that. they're like, well, we got to have a storefront or a physical office or something, so you might as well have people come in. Well, we got the whole clan is awake. So if you hear any sounds, that's what that is. The clans. Speaking of clans, I was surfing around the other day, and I went to. I wanted to take a look again. Not that I was going to order them anytime soon, but I wanted to take a look again at some figures that I would supplement for my pre-feudal Scots. And the company I would use would be a company called QRF, Quick Reaction Force. Make some feudal figures that look like they have a lot of character. And again, I would get a few just to mix in with my Essex figures. And I'm looking forward to building that army, but I think it's unique. It's an army that a lot of people don't have, and it'd be fun to do really bad Scottish voices while I'm playing it. Hey, it's an extra bonus. And then I can drink scotch while I'm playing them, which is the real reason to do it. Have an excuse, even though it's way out of time period, but who cares? And I noticed that all their figures had out of stock. And it happened, I guess, in the last month or so. So I went to their website, and it looked like they were reevaluating their, not reevaluating their business, but they were, I forget exactly what their wording is, but they're, I think, trying to reorganize stuff so hopefully they don't discontinue those figures. But I don't want to really order things before I need them, but man, that'd be a fun army to freaking do. I mean, I'm not going to do the Braveheart Scots because Mitch already has them. But the earlier ones, it's a wacky list too. It's only got 2 mounted elements. It's got a light horse and a general that can be a solid war band or a cavalry. I'm a big fan of cavalry generals. But I already have the light horse and the cav figures. So I picked them up when I picked up the Irish. I had the foresight to pick up those figures that I needed as well. But I didn't order any of the Scottish foot because I've got enough Scottish foot to do what I need. But they've got a lot of character, the guys that they have there. So hopefully they don't discontinue them. Hopefully they stay back in business and put them back online. So, and they're kind of older, second tier figures. I don't care. Like I've said before, I enjoy painting those second tier figures. Hey, I'm not trying to make figures sound like they're crappy or something, but you know, there's figures that aren't as good as some other figures. It's just a fact of life. It's just a fact of life that some Curacao and a Zyston and Legio Heroica and so forth are better castings than irregular. It's just a matter of fact. Does that mean I won't use a regular? It's got nothing to do with that. It just means that they're just not as the regular and those older figures are more crude. And I kind of like the crude figures. You know, you don't need me to paint these figures to paint themselves. I want to paint the figures that nobody gives a shit about. And they can dazzle. I don't know. I want to be unique. And it wasn't intentionally that kind of happened that way. It just kind of, they keep releasing figures. And you need to be happy with what you have. Not just like, oh, these are no good. There's better figures now. Let me throw them away. Well, why you got to throw away figures at all? I mean, if they're the wrong figures, it's one thing. But just because they're older or whatever, some of these crummier figures paint up just fine. I don't mean that to poo-poo somebody, but alternative armies. Some of these other figures are not, you know, they're not the latest and greatest. Paint up just fine. And I don't do it for cost reasons, because sometimes they're not any cheaper. I just do it because it's just kind of, well, I already have some. You know, I'm not, most of these armies I'm not building from scratch. I already have something of them already in there. This guy's going to actually turn out really better than I thought he was going to. Let's get a little bit more highlighting on here. So I have a pre-feudal Scot army that's mostly from Essex, but it needs a little bit more personality. So QRF is being sold. New owner is taking over in April. Figure should be available again after then. Okay, good. Well, hopefully you stay in business. I like their stuff. Some of their figures are I like better than others. The Scots they have, the pictures that they have on there look pretty good, especially their war bands and fast pikes. It almost seems like just about every figure is different. Big fan of that when the situation calls for it. But like I said, we'll have to bring our scotch with us and talk funny, annoy people from Scotland. Hey, I'm doing better than most Americans. I know that's not saying a whole lot, but I do. At least I have an interest in wanting to pronounce things correctly. I really do, you know? And I value that a lot. You know, one of the guys that I do quite a few books on Audible, and one of the guys that I particularly like is Dan Jones. And Dan Jones is from England, but I think he does a really good job speaking in other languages. He has an interest in trying to get the pronunciation correctly, you know. So I put a value on that. Some people may not, but I do. Am I out of liquid again? Yeah, I'm out of liquid again. All right, we're gonna keep this running. I'm just gonna pause the sound, and I'll be right back. Okay. Yeah, so hopefully they stay in business. I guess they were the manufacturer that I had. So many people post things. I didn't really pay attention to who it was. I think they're the manufacturer that said that one of their co-owners had a health issue or something. They couldn't continue. But I wish companies did a better job of being upfront about who their sculptor is. And I've said this before because I think that those guys get kind of forgotten. And if it wasn't for these guys sculpting stuff, where would we be? You know? Like I know that the owner of museum is the sculptor, but I didn't find that immediately. They should put on there, these figures are sculpted by so-and-so. Kurosan does a pretty good job of that. I don't know if they have it on all their figure lines, but, who's the guy that sculpted QRF? Who's the Essex guy? I mean, that motherfucker is prolific. I mean, he does everything. I have no idea what his name is, I wish that was they were a little bit more upfront with that. Not to berate them, but to give them credit. I think it's cool. I don't know, maybe they don't want credit. Maybe they don't want credit because somebody can't say, hey, why do you put all your figures in these funny poses? There he is. Get him. No, that's not me. I think they get forgotten about. Painting's friggin' easy. This is easy as shit. It just takes a while. And maybe I'm thinking it's easy as shit because, I'm going on 40 years of doing this. Almost 40 years. But I didn't put these folds wherever this person put these folds. Whoever Mr. Essex is. Lord Essex. Or Lady Essex. All right. Poopy diaper. I forgot to do the sword handle part. Because it is yellow on that drawing. Sometimes I'll put my own spin on it, but don't feel like I need to on this one. I may do that lobster, whoever that person is. The guy with the lobster heraldry. Hopefully doesn't end up looking like a roach. I don't want anything to do with anything as a roach. People really dislike spiders. I have no problem with spiders. It's roaches I don't like. The big flying ones. They aren't in your house. They come in your house because there's billions outside. I really don't have that problem here. So they spray the shit out of this place. Actually, one thing that made a big difference, and it sounds really stupid, but they have like a perimeter that they spray around your house, and they don't want to even go through there, or they die, or it's out in the grass or somewhere. But that seemed to make a really big difference when they did that. Everybody's always hating on spiders, and I'm not a spider savior or anything, but they don't do anything for me. The spider savior. All right. Let's see how this looks. I haven't even looked at it. I'm painting it and I haven't even looked at it. It's going to look darker for you guys than it really is. Let's get our thing here. Oh, that's the wrong one. We do this one. And we need to zoom in with this button. See how the brightness is changing and nothing's changing? It's imperfect. So they're supposed to be banana looking crescents. That's how they are on the drawing. And then we have a set back here. And then we have the sun and the shield. I think it turned out pretty well. And there's enough of the horse flesh left on it that doesn't look like one big red thing. All right, so let's move this down here to the corner. All right. So what's next? Well, we got to pick the color of the horse. We got a medium brown one, a white one. I think it should be a lighter color horse. I think we're going to do a lighter color horse on this guy. All right. So move this back a little bit so I've got some more room to work. I'm going to go ahead and put all these colors away. Give myself some room. Thank you, Dirk. It actually looks better in person. I think the video portion of the camera is kind of an imperfection. I don't know if it's imperfect. It's not like it's perfectly painted. Just doesn't give you the right impression all the time. All right. I'm painting bulk feudal Spanish shields at the moment. Shields in bulk. You have that book, you have that Warhammer Ancient Battle on El Cid, do you? Don't you? There's some. There's a lot of eye candy there. Inspirational eye candy. I thought it was pretty inspirational. And I've never played Warhammer Ancient Battles. You know what? I don't want to play anything that. I don't want to play any rule set that's like in vogue. And then 2 years later, nobody plays it. I ain't got time for that. Brown. How about that one? Let's see. What about this? Of course, is just a starting point. We tinker and manipulate these colors at will here. This one's hanging out all the way at the bottom. Why are you hanging out at the bottom? Tan yellow. You just got recruited. Your ass just been recruited. Oh, well, don't put it there. That's the wrong place for it. Oh. Yeah, I think, what's this one? This is too yellow? Yeah, that one's too yellow. All right, let's use this one. Yep, downloaded it. Yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens when things aren't available. People download them. I'm all for buying an actual book if it's available. If they decide, like, we're not going to print this anymore, well, screw you. Then I will get it by whatever means I need to. Yeah, it's a beautiful book. There's some artwork in there. There's one of the motifs. One of the Spanish contingents has this flag. And it's a blue flag with, it looks like a white cat on it. And I'm like, man, where is that? Where is that? Where'd they get that from? I think it's just a mispainted lion. And it's just their own interpretation of it, because blue is not a very. I'm not saying there aren't very many blue Spanish things, but it's definitely less than red and yellow, and I'd say even green. I think green's more common than blue. But again, it's depending on what kind of color mixture you want. Like these poles, supposedly red is a very, very common color. It's the most common color. So most of these nights are going to have something in red. Now I can always disagree with it and say, I don't care what you guys think. That's just not my artistic interpretation of it. What did I do with this tan color? Did I never put it down? I don't think I ever put it down. All right, do we have an area we can work in that's not too cluttered? All right. Am I going to be able to make it to Historicon and buy these sheets there? I'm going to have to pre-order them. I think I probably should just pre-order them. That way I don't get there and then find out they don't have any. Uh-oh. 'Tis time?
You have some breakfast.
Okay. All right. I need to take a little 5-minute break to have my second breakfast. And we'll be right back in about 5 minutes. All right. Spanish seem to like red, yellow, and black. Well, black goes with everything. Yeah, I have some blue. I have some green. Red and yellow, yeah. White. All right. I got a book when I was painting my Spanish. It took me, I found out about it, which was a mistake finding out about this book. And because then I wanted to get it. Because with as much time as I'm spending painting these figures, I don't want to find out after I'm done, oh man, I wish I would have known that, would have done them different. That's not something I want to get into. Oh, now my internet's in the red? Well, haven't heard anybody complain about it, so I guess this is the new normal. You've gotten used to it. It's a bad connection with YouTube being consumed by all the live feeds. That's got to be what it is. Anywho. Switch to Twitch? No. I don't even know what the hell that is. Gaming videos and shit like that. But, I don't want to find out that after I'm done with the project, oh, if I would have known this information, I would have bought something different. So I found out about this book. There's this book in Spanish about the warriors of the Reconquista. And sought it out, bought it. It ended up being like a $40 book and like $50 in shipping or something like that. When I got it, it was just... It's sad. Let's put it that way. It's just sad. The drawing is just... I disagree with some of it. It's just really, really crappy. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Have I recovered from Monday? Wow, what happened Monday? No, those guys saved me a lot of trouble. I'm not painting that loser army. Bad chi. I used to kick ass with Chinese armies, but I think ever since the army finally understands that I'm not buying Chinese products, going out of my way, they're kind of miffed at me. So you know what? Screw them then. I'm still not going to buy Chinese products knowingly. I like the troop composition of that army, but yeah, the dice just didn't want to behave, and just one of those things. It just proves you shouldn't build an army based on how you think it's going to perform. Paint what you like to do. And then if they do well, they do well. And if they don't, well, then they don't do well. You know? You need to stick to armies that are crappier. Do better with them. I do better with them. Okay, it's good for the bottom color level. Let's add more of this. Hey, you're not going to win. You're not going to win if you roll 3 ones for pips in consecutive turns, consecutive bounds. And whatever, there's nothing you can do about it. I've been the guy that's made the other guy roll 3 ones for pips before, so it happens. And I build that army, then I'm automatically 1 in 7 with them before they've even played a game. So that's a little too sadistic. I don't think I want to do that. Just trying to find something useful for some of those figures to represent. Using early Persians versus Middle Imperial Romans in 2 weeks' time, I suspect I'm going to get smashed. Middle Imperial... I don't know, the Middle Imperial Romans aren't that good. They got a lot of auxilia, so can you fight off auxilia? I thought you were building Achaemenids. The Alexander period Achaemenids. If you're fighting the earlier ones with the Immortals and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know how the Immortals are in DBMM. They gotta be... I can't stand the fact that the first hit on them, the first kill on one of them counts as 2 in DBA. It really makes me not want to use one of those elements because they're so brittle. Because they can get shot out by bow in DBA. They don't shoot any better. They don't take damage any better in DBA than they do than regular bow. So you got to keep them away from other bow fire, and you got to keep them away from artillery, which is relatively easy to do because it's kind of obvious, and there's not that much artillery out there. But foot, they shouldn't be in combat with foot. Well, they kind of have to with, if you're using those early guys, they're going to have to fight hoplites, But I've seen them shoot the shit out of hoplites. But I can't stand that their first kill cost 2. I can't stand that. Counts as 2 dead. They look cool. They look really cool, actually. So I was looking through the DBMM books the other day, and I looked up Constantinian Byzantine. Because when I do the Byzantines, I'm going to paint a couple elements to be able to make that earlier list. A couple elements like a command post and a couple of spearmen. They're supposed to have Armenian spearmen, so I've got Armenian troops to use for that. That have been sitting on the sidelines waiting to find a purpose in life. So forth. But I was surprised to see that in the DBMM list, there's no command post or equivalent of it. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just listed in a different manner, but I looked through there and I'm like, okay, let me... But one thing that was surprising is the command post is, it's a mounted Byzantine emperor with his Varangian guard around him. But the Varangian Guard during that time period did not use the broadaxe yet. They were all spearmen. So I think I've got some spearmen coming that should be able to work for that. So again, this is why I do historical gaming, is you kind of learn about different periods, you know, what they would have, according to Phil Barker. I would just put regular axemen. And I may still do that if I don't have the right folks for it. But I do have some Byzantine figures coming whenever they freaking get here. I ordered them on the 5th of March. And actually, I tried to call them yesterday. I remember I got off work yesterday a little earlier than normal. Like, let me give them a call and find out where the order is. It says, give us a call during working hours. And I realized they closed at 4. So even though I got off at 4:30 or something like that, they were already closed. So I'm just tired of checking my mail every damn day. Not that I need them. I just, I want to look at them. I want to do an unboxing on them. It's only 4 packs, so. Got some mounted figures, got a command pack, we got some foot and bowmen. That's what it is. That's what it is. So we'll do an unboxing on them if they ever get here. Good thing I'll order them in advance. Yeah, I like getting everything in order before I start a project, because there's nothing worse than, man, these look really good, but had I painted the right figures, or had I had this information, I would have painted them differently. I don't want those thoughts in my mind. Those are impure thoughts. But I do have the Warhammer Ancient Battles on the Byzantine. There's lots of eye candy in there. I have a feeling we're going to have to hang out in Byzantine land for a long time. There's several of those that I want to knock out. I might as well knock them all out together. Busy with Byzantines. This thing is around his neck. That's going to be white. Probably going to do the stuff around his harness and stuff also white as well. All right, let's go do that now. And let's go to a smaller, a brush that is just as small but doesn't have a curve at the end. That's what happens. These start appearing with a curve, and I start putting them in secondary duties. All right, got plenty of white there. Mm-hmm. Stellar Conquest, there you are. Maybe you have some input on this question that I had asked earlier. Why do miniature companies don't advertise who the sculptor is of their lines? Why doesn't Essex Miniatures say Essex Miniatures, sculpted by whoever he is? You know? Why do they keep those people in the background? I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me. You know, before I get into this, I need to do the metal on his chainmail so I don't get carried away and end up dry brushing over something else. So let's go to Metalhead Corner down over here. And we need a little bit of that. We just need a touch of this blue. They call it gunmetal. I've seen a lot of guns and they're never this color. Ever. Never, ever, ever, never. Maybe fantasy gun weapons. Doesn't look Parkerized. Parkerized, just ugly looking to begin with. I was going to paint a bunch of Parkerized guns. I would just paint them gray. They don't like to highlight who's doing what. They might ask for more money. No, why don't I know who the guy who does Essex is? Who the hell that guy is? People might want to come visit him and complain, hey, why'd you put all these guys in these weird poses? Well, I wasn't going to use this brush, but I will now. Yeah, the sculptors are cool. I mean, you know, I'm just painting by numbers. Sometimes a sculptor doesn't want to be known for a particular job. Works both ways. Oh, free agency, huh? Well, I don't know how it is in other skills, but 15mm guys can't hide. I know what people's work looks like. You can't hide from me, anyways. I'll find you out. You know, my hero sculptor, I can spot his stuff anywhere. Because he has a unique style. Had a unique style. tip of this brush is fishtailing. How strange. It's a cheap Chinese piece of shit. Anne has one of these. Great. There we go. Get out of there. Behave or I'll put you in the rubbish bin. Annie Morrison. Must be Andy Morrison. Did the Mike's models. Of Mike's models on day. Essex just used someone else's doll, so the sculptor just dresses them. Who did what in that case? Uh-oh. Speaking of Mike's models, cute little fat guy here. This is one figure I painted, or nearly finished painting, for my later Muslim Indian army. I was going to do it as a light horse guy. And then I saw something shiny and didn't finish this army. I got one figure in, or 3/4 of a figure, or something like that. He's sitting over there in the wings, waiting for a purpose in life. Yeah, they're unique looking. They're definitely unique looking. I don't know if I'd say I love them. I painted some of them. From the Renaissance line, which I think are back in production now through Essex. Just dress the dollies so somebody else makes the armature and they add the stuff onto it. Yeah, I would think that that would be the hard part, is making the armature. I don't know. I've done very few things with the epoxy putty. I thought the thing that was really strange about epoxy putty is, for those of us that are not familiar with it, is there was many things I couldn't do in one go. So in other words, I had to get it to a certain point and then wait for that to dry and add on to it. I couldn't just continue doing it, because once you press it too far, if you put a crease somewhere and you go deeper than you want to, you're screwed. You can't just add to it because it just keeps I don't know. It was just difficult to work with, but it did work a little bit better for me when I came across a video or something like that, and it said to wet your fingers before you work with it. And once I started doing that, things seemed to be a lot better. But it's just a medium I'm not real familiar with. So I'm probably going to limit you doing it to just adding a cape to somebody, or maybe adding a hat or something like that to somebody else. It's not going to be something that you sculptors are in no danger of me taking over and getting into your hobby. You guys are on your own. I just paint shit. I do find it really strange, though, that maybe somebody who's a sculptor is not able to paint, because, man, sculpting is a hell of a lot more difficult than this. This is just, I'm just putting colors on. Easy to overwork the clay. Yeah. Yeah, it takes some patience, and it's just a different skill set. I think a lot of this stuff just requires patience. I think it's perception. I look at a figure and I go, oh, I can paint that. And I know in my head it's going to take me 4 hours, not like, I don't expect to be done in 15 minutes. So if you have the wrong expectation, thinking, okay, I'll sculpt this whatever, and then ends up taking you a lot longer than you thought, you think you're doing something wrong, and that's just kind of how it is, you know. So I have no perception of how long it takes to sculpt something. So the stuff I've done took a lot longer than I would give it credit for taking. And there's no doubt that it takes me longer to do than somebody who's used to working in that medium, but I did get a little set of tools that it's probably the last thing I ordered from frickin' China before I, put them on the no-fly list. These little tools here, they're little rubber tip things. Got like 7 of them or whatever. And, I like them because they allow you to press the stuff down, but not enough to really go super deep. So, I'm not going to do anything really intensive with the green stuff, but at least it gives me something to tinker with. What have I done? The Pope's hat, cannonballs, the Pope's hat, cannonballs, and a cape. That may be it. I'll do more. I just, don't need those things right now. But yeah, this big secret is wet your hands before you work it. Because I'm like, man, it's sticking to my hands. Well, nobody freaking told me. I don't have that skill set yet. Everything is just a little different. Playing with dollies. That one guy on the miniatures page many years ago. I remember I don't know who the hell it was, so I can't give anybody credit. Not that I go on the miniatures page anymore. Discussion about something or another. I'm sure it was some miniature scale discussion or World War II discussion, probably because that's what I was doing back at the time. But anything larger than 28 millimeters is just playing. Anything larger than 20 millimeters is just playing with dollies. Classic. I thought it was hilarious. Pissed some people off. That was funny. I didn't say it. Wasn't my idea. I think it's fine people do other scales. I do the scales I do for the reasons that I give. I had somebody that had contacted me and said, hey, I want you to paint some of my figures in 28 millimeter scale. Can I send you some? I said, dude, don't bother. Because I'm not going to get to them. And I don't want you wasting your time, money, postage. Hold on one second. Alright, sorry about that. My services were needed. Just looked up the Essex site, and yes, Mike's Models Renaissance figures are available. I see Ottoman 15mm DBA by my future. I have a. You want to? You know what they look? You want to know what they look like, or do you know what they look like? My Ottoman gun is Mike's Models. Is the whole thing Mike's Models, including the crew? I think it is. Yeah, let me show you what it looks like. It actually turned out really well, even though these guys are kind of wonky looking. Wonky-ish looking. This is Mike's Models Ottoman artillery. All right, which way do I have to move it to be able to see it? God, it's so difficult. These are all Mike's Models guys and the gun. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's go here. Here? No, come on. Here we go. Got these big mustaches, which I actually kind of like. They paint up pretty well. And yeah, the gun carriage is supposed to look a little green on purpose. The guy behind the gun, he doesn't rate, he's not allowed to have a mustache. He lost a bet or something like that. He had to shave it off. Yeah. Mike's Models Artillery. They are full of character. There's one thing that stinks about them is sometimes they don't have a lot of variety of poses. Sometimes you get only one pose, but yeah, they do have a lot of character. Did I have any other Mike's Models guys painted? I don't think so. I got a couple of Irish little skirmishers that are mixed in with some of the troops, but other than that, I don't think I do. I have some to paint. I've got some Renaissance guys, but yeah, they're full of character. They're the opposite of when I used to do 20mm SHQ, guys with no character. Yeah, I don't like figures that have no character. And I used to think these Essex guys had no character, but that's not true. That's not fair. They actually, I like their figures a lot more than I used to. I used to not like their figures at all, but I don't like army packs. You know, they just throw shit in there that without any rhyme or reason sometimes, and I had 2 bad experiences with Essex before I even got into DBA, and they sent me the wrong figures both times. And it pissed me off. And they make them, you know, so I'm like, I'm only going to order packs for them. If I over order, well, I don't care. You know, I always have a use for extra figures. But I'm going to pick who I'm going to paint, damn it. Ottomans. Just don't expect them to do well. My Ottomans can't hit the broadside of a barn. All right, the rest of this stuff we need to paint more controlled manner. Actually, I need to go down a brush size. Let's go to this guy here. Yeah, my damn Ottomans just... Every game they win, they lose 3. Oh well. I like how they look. Which is the most important thing as a painter. If you don't like how they turned out, well, that's not going to get you to paint more things. They're at least 30 years old. That's not that old. The Essex figures are pretty old, aren't they? 30 years? What was 30 years ago? 1990? 1992? That was the other day. Minifigs was still around. Minifigs guys look almost all the same. I like that sameness how they look, but the minifigs guys I've got recently though, relatively recent. The mole is just really, 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 really worn. Really worn. He had a lot of flash. You bought your first Mike's models in 1984. I never pick armies that do well. Only armies that are pretty and fun to paint. It is more important. It is more important. Hey, don't be losing games with my Spanish now, okay? Or if you do, I don't want to hear about it. I don't like playing my own people, man. It's too much pressure. Too much pressure. I'll lose to somebody else's countryman. 40 years old. Yeah. 1984. I wasn't into wargaming yet. I didn't know about it, or I would have been. I didn't find out about wargaming until the next year, 1985. Miniature wargaming. Didn't you guys subscribe to any of those wargaming magazines? Like Wargamer Soldiers and Strategy or Miniature War Games? Do you think any of them are worth a damn? I mean, they're awfully expensive. I don't know if they'd be that useful to me because I'm not interested in, I can't be interested in everything. I can't be into everything. But man, some of the stuff in there used to be really inspirational. You guys, what are they? There's basically, those are the two big ones, right? War Games Illustrated and War Games Soldiers and Strategy. That's a relatively new one. War Games Illustrated has been around forever, or since the 90s for sure. I don't care really for the history ones because just if you find a topic you're interested in, by the time it gets around to like, okay, tell me more, the article's over. It's like, the hell, you know? That's less information than I can find off of Wikipedia. Get out of here. I subscribed to Slingshot for 1 year. I got like no value out of it. I don't think that was a good value. But hey, you know, you live and you learn. I know I just can't walk up to a store and get one. There's no such place like that here. I shouldn't say the Slingshot was no value because I did buy the CD set of their old issues, and I've used that some. I've used that some. But that stuff is just for knowledge, not necessarily inspirational, because There's not really any artwork on any of the old ones, but the I am Dirk the Fourth, family name, and I found an army commanded by a Dirk IV, Count of Holland, in the early 10th century. Only problem is the army is crap. Maybe that's why you just gave up commanding troops. Early East Frankish. Really? East Franks are crap? They got knights, right? They got heavy infantry, spearmen, which are probably inferior, I'm guessing, and some skirmishers, and some horde. That's probably all they have. If the DBM list is similar to the DBA list, and I would think that it would be, yeah, they probably have knights that don't behave, right? What do you guys call them? Impetuous, irregular, whatever. You got to spend a pip on them to keep them from moving forward. I wish DBA had that. I'm telling you that, and that's something that if I ever come up with my set of rules, that's why I bought the DBMM rules, because my rules would have shit like that. Because it's like, oh, we're playing knights. Oh, cool. I know exactly what to do. Oh, but these are the ones that don't behave. Oh, we got to play them differently. Well, that's the whole point in having a different army. You got to play it differently. It'd be frustrating, but that would be cool, you know? So Norman without any of the fun stuff. What's the fun stuff for the Normans? The cool shields. Normans have cool shields. Those Norman troops that they came out with for Forged in Battle. They're gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous. I have tons of Normans. Tons. Because I bought every Norman pack when I was building my Spanish. And I should do a Norman army. But that bitch Mitch already has one, so. I'll do Sicilian Normans. So, you stopped buying War Games magazines 20 years ago. Cost too much for articles that just rehash the same material over and over again. Yeah, I'm afraid of that. This should cost a third of the price and just be digital. Yeah. I'll do Sicilian Normans. Who wants to do frickin' William the Bastard when you can do Robert Guiscard? And company. The other Hotville guys. The penniless Normans. We can't sit around here. We gotta make some dough, folks. Yeah, I like how those troops look. They look cool. And I know because I painted something for my Spanish. For my feudal Spanish. Lance. What color lance? We're going to do white with this guy? Probably. Probably, or some kind of off-white. I need to go smaller with this. Yeah, Mitch ruined all my plans. All these armies I would have had. Hey, it's not like I'm interested in most armies anyways, so. You have to change what I do. I just need to continue to paint this frequently because this is how you're going to get stuff done. Even though I'm not getting that much stuff done a year, but it just takes a long time. The ones that keep turning out well and I'm happy with them, we'll keep painting. So finding a method that is faster for me, but I'm not as happy with the results, is not the way forward for me. That wouldn't work for me. A gloved hand. Well, we're not going to finish this, guys. I got about 15 minutes left before I should stop. But we're well on our way. You got it right. Crazy Knights, Inferior Foot, Hordes, and a Fusilier. That's it, yeah. Crazy Knights. All right. Just sit here until the foot comes up. All right. Now, where'd they go? You know? Oh, they lost the battle. Yep. Could be worse. Could have a worse army. Could have... see, what could your ancestors be? Estonians. Man, those guys suck. It's Estonians and Prussians. I think Prussians are warband and Estonians are auxilia. Warband in a knight's world. Bad things. Let's do this. Let's do the lance. The lance. Build one of those. Build a Low Countries army, or what's those guys? They have some odd list that they added. Some odd list that they added. It was Frisians or something like that. And one of them was either in the Germans or they added something in the last 3.0 they didn't have in 2.2. Be a Low Countries. You're not that guy that I heard of that was that had a Low Countries army. I forget if this guy was in Australia or New Zealand. I have no idea who he is. I don't need to know who he is, but some guy that I heard through the grapevine many years ago, probably 10 years ago, that he always used to do back in the days of 2.2. He always used to play a Low Countries army and corner camp with it. I'm like, well, that can't be much fun to play the same just to play the same way every time. That would get old. He sat in a corner with a Low Countries army made people come get him. Well, you can't set up on the corner. You've got to, get close and then scooch over there. But unless you're like a bunch of skirmishers fighting in the open, there's always somewhere where you can attack. And, you know, you got to give up on the other flank, but at least there's somewhere where you can attack, move forward. No fun to be defensive. Just can't imagine playing a game like this and always play the same army. You don't get to experience different things. You don't get to experience all kinds of different ways to lose. So after this guy's done, we got 3 more Polish knights and we're done with Poland for a while. I'm going to move to Byzantium. All right, we're going to leave this as is for the time being. And we're going to call this one a wrap. We got to go pack and stuff, so. Okay, folks, well, thanks for coming by. We did a little over 3 hours, so that's good. And we'll catch you guys hopefully later on in the week. Well, actually, technically that'd be next week. So, to be continued. But enjoy the rest of your Saturday or Sunday, depending on what day